Basically how it started, like a few years back now, I'm working with a 42-page list of acronyms for the past 4.5 to 5 years now. And so basically what happened is my son at the time was at Queen's, and we texted back and forth, and he would kind of say like, oh, I think you're mad at me, by text, right? And so I started sending all these smiley faces, and so that's why I was interested in texting, and so started doing some research, and that's when I found this 42-page list of acronyms. And so first so this is actually a piece I've never shown, but it's the first piece I've ever done at the time, and during the time when I didn't really know what I'm going to do with it. So I figured, okay, well, I'm just gonna write them out and see what happens. And so I was thinking, like, I always have my phone with me. So basically we have portrait mode, we have landscape mode. So I was thinking definitely landscape mode, thinking about the linguistic landscape and how that is changing, and that is a new language that is developing right in front of our eyes, but also kind of still behind a haze. And so kind of I added this oil stick white haze on top of it. And so here, when you can kind of see it closer, they actually disappear into the whiteness. So it's also about being lost in this whole translation idea of, what's happening there. So, but for this show here, I kind of wanted to just fill the space with acronyms and put focus on just the beauty of the acronyms, but also kind of the beauty of being lost. And but each piece still has like a story to it. I didn't like putting titles on it because I just wanted them to stand for what they are. But this piece here is called alphabet acronym. So basically I was thinking, okay, I want to just see what it looks like on vinyl, and on vinyl because we have the reflection from the glass on our iPhone, so that's just kind of my way of thinking. And so these two pieces here are the whole list of acronyms, and I love they're quite beautiful with the shadows behind it. And I'm actually going to show these two pieces at New Mexico State University Gallery this coming August. And they also wanted me to do new work in that kind of style. And so I was thinking, okay, what am I doing? And lately I'm sending out a lot of flowers by text. And so I'm thinking, okay, this is a nice gesture, a nice gesture of niceness, but like love. You send out these things, right? Or smiley faces to make you smile. And so I thought, okay, well, what do I do? Flowers. It's like, okay, an acronym garden. So I'm literally going to make a garden with these kind of vinyls, filled with acronyms, kind of making tulips that I'm cutting out, and it's going to be like a whole installation, not just tulips, but flowers, and it will be something that comes into space with some sculptural pieces as well. So this piece over here, I showed it with some other work that I called Anticipation, and this was actually a grid with smaller pieces, 11 by 14 collage work. And like we always anticipate, texts and answers from people and so forth quickly, and maybe sometimes not so quickly. But this piece here I called Eternal Hope and Ultimate Letdown. And the reason for that is like I have an iPhone, so the Android users, they probably don't understand it as well. But when you use the iPhone and you text someone, the other person can actually see that you're texting with these three little dots. And basically what we do when we text, we edit on a constant basis, right? It's like, oh no, that doesn't sound good. So if I say something silly right now, I can't take it away, but with text I can. And so sometimes we edit so much that you say, okay, it's so banal, like just forget about it. And so it's called Eternal Hope and Ultimate Letdown. So very often it happens, you wait and you don't feel as fulfilled. So there's this actually is vinyl or oil sticks on vinyl, and so I'm using this list and just scratching in the alphabet into or the acronyms into the oil base. I was also thinking about sound. As you heard, somebody's thinking about me, and so I wanted to make a piece at the time about the sound and how that makes me feel fuzzy inside. And so I was thinking, how would I be able to do that? Just making people think about, sound, and without being too obvious about, using sound per se. And so I made this piece over here, and there's actually 31 circles that I made using that list of acronyms. And so this piece here, as you can see, isn't quite finished. So that's where the piece or the list was finished. And so, like I said, I was able to make 31 of them. And I added these fuzzy little guys here just because it makes me feel fuzzy inside. I also made other ones that with triangles, thinking about how the hierarchy is changing and also about female issues. And I added some black things to it that kind of was, reminded me of like digestive things. So it was about the idea of how we digest the language. And then I had LOL and Hey, these neon pieces, and they're actually called Grammar 1 and Grammar 2. And so a person in the States working at a university, John Waterer, I think that's his right name, he actually said that LOL, before we said, okay, laugh out loud and lots of love and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of trite right now when we think about it or even when we use it, but apparently it has become grammar. And LOL actually shows empathy for whatever the one person texted or whatnot. And then hey basically means, hey, we're going to change topic now. So LOL, hey, OMG, guess what? This and this happened. So I think that's actually quite interesting. Also, the fact, the whole idea about using this list and the idea that a new language is born right in front of our eyes, and there's absurdity to it, the compulsion of it. So I'm trying to think about all these things and make art about it. And then these little guys here, again, I used the list and made as many as I could, which is 5 in this particular instance. And so I just wanted to kind of portray the idea that we're these entities hovering in these little cubicles. And, we're trying the absurdity to connect with everybody. And it seems very important, and yet we're all alone. And once you're gone with your camera, I'll be sitting in there, probably texting a couple more things to somebody. And so basically, that is it for this show here. But like I said, I've been making work about texting for quite a while now, and there's so many aspects to it, and it's actually quite fascinating, and I guess very creative in that sense, to think how can I take these, conceptual things and give it like a visual form. And that's what I'm intrigued by now. And I guess another thing was, like before, I think this piece here has these forms here, these little entities, as I'm calling them, because I wanted a piece that kind of shows also the other kind of work that I'm doing, which was more about sewing and bulbous forms, and when I was talking about consumerism and things like that. And it seemed important to me to have a piece that kind of combines the two. And so that's basically it. And I also investigate issues like women like with their phones, and issues of security. And so I made a lot of collage work about that as well. And there's a lot more to research. And I also made blankets, or kind of like blankets. They're kind of using like panic buttons, like collage made with panic buttons. And anyways, because I read an article at the time, and it said that in 2017 in India, every phone will have a panic button. So that's kind of, again, like the way I think about it, and that's why I use panic button in the work. And so there's a lot more to explore, and it's actually very interesting to see how people react to it, if they can find an entrance to the work or maybe not. And so it's from that perspective, it's quite interesting. Yeah. So thank you very much.